Cannon Streeter, we can begin the housekeeping announcements, and I have a delegate that's having an issue. So Faith, I will ask you to read through the beginning housekeeping slides while I help this delegate. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Welcome, everyone. We're going to go over a few housekeeping announcements and some instructions for the meeting. So this meeting is taking place over Zoom webinar, which is slightly different than regular Zoom meetings. So you should only be able to see the video feed of a few panelists. You won't be able to see everyone in the meeting, and you won't have the ability to mute or unmute yourself right now. We'll talk about in just a minute how you can be recognized and speak in the meeting at the appropriate time. So as I said, your video and microphone are currently disabled, and you will see the following controls, which might look a little different depending on the type of device you're on, but you'll be able to see the raise hand feature and chat, and I'll talk more about those features in just a second too. So this meeting is being recorded and will be streamed to Facebook in just a minute, and it will be later uploaded to the Diocesan YouTube channel for later viewing, so please know that we are being recorded right now. In order to tabulate and verify the voting results, this Zoom webinar and live stream will stop temporarily at 6:35 p.m. This happened last year too, if you were here last year. It's going to resume just about a minute later, but we have to temporarily end it to start the voting results. So it'll end at about 6:35, but it will resume just about a minute later. So please sign back in with the initial link that was provided to you in your registration email. And then for Facebook participants, they can just rejoin on the Diocesan Facebook page. I'll put that in the comments as well, so they'll know that. But yes, so we will be taking a 10-minute break at 6:35 anyway. So you can just take your break and come back onto the meeting and sign on the same way that you signed in now. For the chat function, you can use the chat to communicate with panelists, introduce an amendment or alternate motion, or receive technical support. So if you're having an issue, you can type it into the chat. You should see an icon like that towards the bottom of your screen, and when you click on it, it should open up a box for you to type a message into, and then if you want to close it, you can click on it again. You'll also see messages from other participants or panelists in the chat box come through and notify you on your screen. So for voting will take place inside the Zoom webinar itself, so we won't have to go anywhere else. It'll all be right here. At the appropriate time, a polling window will just automatically appear on your screen. You can then select your responses and click submit. Oh, and I just got a notification that this is being live streamed now. Okay, so you can hit submit when you select your responses on the screen. As mentioned at all convocation meetings, if there are more than one voting members in your household, you both have to be on separate devices in order to vote, because you cannot vote more than once with the same login. We will give more detailed voting instructions closer to the time of the voting in the meeting. And then to gain recognition from the chair. So as you know, right now you're not on video or able to speak. So this is how you'll be able to do it at the appropriate time. You should see an icon that says raise hand. That's what you'll click on. So that is how we will second motions as well. So all you have to do is click on that button and you'll be seen if you want to second a motion. But this is also how you'll gain recognition to speak during the meeting. And so what will happen at the appropriate time, the host will promote you to a panelist if you've clicked your hand, the raise hand feature, and want to speak. And then it will look like you've been temporarily logged out, but it will rejoin in just a minute. And then after that time, you'll be able to find the ability to mute and unmute yourself and start and stop your video. And then everyone in the meeting can see and hear you. And then you can give your comments, and then after you're done speaking, the host will revert you back to participant status. So that's how we'll do that. It's all through the raise hand feature. And also when you are recognized, please state your first and last name, your position, so whether you're a clergy or lay person, your parish name and city, and whether you're looking to speak to the current resolution or make a new motion. And I think that's everything. Thank you. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Thank you, Faith.
Thank you. And I'm unmuted. Is that right? Can you hear me? Great.
That is correct.
Awesome. Well, welcome to everybody who's joining us this evening, to our clergy and lay delegates who are inside this webinar. As Faith said, we can't see you. We know you can see us, but I am so grateful for your leadership and for you being here tonight. And also welcome to all of you who are joining us on live stream, and perhaps some of you who are watching this sometime later, because we are recording it. We are glad that you're here with us, participating in this important part of our common life in Christ. I'd like to move to the opening prayer. We have two of them tonight. Let us pray. Oh God, by your grace, you have called us in this diocese to a goodly fellowship of faith. Grant that your word may be truly preached and truly heard, your sacraments faithfully administered and faithfully received. By your Spirit, fashion our lives according to the example of your Son, and grant that we may show the power of your love to all among whom we live, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. And this is a prayer from our prayer book for a church convention. Almighty and ever-living God, source of all wisdom and understanding, be present with those who take counsel in the Diocese of Central Pennsylvania for the renewal and mission of your church. Teach us in all things to seek first your honor and glory. Guide us to perceive what is right, and grant us both the courage to pursue it and the grace to accomplish it, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Mr. Secretary, Tyrone Powell, I'd like to know if there is a quorum present.
Bishop, we have a quorum.
Wonderful. In that case, I will declare convention open and call our business session to order. Tyrone, would you share with us the ratifying resolution for an online convention?
Yes, Bishop. I would like to draw your attention to the resolution for rules of online convention, which was passed by the Council of Trustees at their September meeting and was provided to you on the Diocesan Convention website and by email. I move that the 101st Annual Convention of the Diocese of Central Pennsylvania ratify this resolution as follows. Resolved that this 101st Convention of the Diocese of Central Pennsylvania hereby adopts, as a resolution of this convention, the resolution of the Council of Trustees of the Diocese, authorizing this convention to be held as a virtual meeting using electronic communications technology, which resolution was adopted by the Council on September 18, 2021. And further, resolved that the said resolution of Council is hereby ratified and confirmed as a resolution of this convention, which shall remain in full force and effect until amended or repealed.
Thank you, Tyrone. So at this time, I'm going to ask for a second, and you can indicate that you would like to second that motion by hitting the raise hand button. And I see Ray Casey is the first hand up. So Ray, thank you for your second. And now we'll call for a vote on that resolution. Alexis.
I will launch the polling. You will have 45 seconds, and here we go. I have launched the poll. And that's a quick vote. 90% have participated. We're at 91.
Very good. So the motion carries.
100%.
Very good. Thank you. So the motion carries. That means we can continue with our convention online. Is there a way to clear the raised hands from the participant screen, from the roll?
Yes, I'm going to lower all of the hands.
Beautiful.
There we go.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, I'd now call on you to make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I call for a motion to accept the consent agenda, which includes the agenda, reports of convention, and the courtesy resolutions.
Thank you. So moved. Is there a second? I'm looking on the participant list. I see Jerry Brown. Thank you very much, Jerry. Is there a discussion on the consent agenda, or is there interest in removing any of the items from the consent agenda for our consideration? If so, we need you to raise your hand, which means that we would need the current raised hands to be lowered. Okay. Seeing none, I will call for the vote on the consent agenda.
I'm launching the poll. And you may vote now. At about 35 seconds. 91% have participated. We're at about 93%. And the poll will close in 10 seconds. And the poll is now closing with 99% yay.
Very good. So the motion carries and the consent agenda is adopted. The next item of business for us tonight is to elect our officers of convention. And from year to year, we are so grateful to have Mr. Tyrone Powell, Esquire, joining us as diocesan secretary. And year to year, we're again grateful for Debbie Robelin, who serves also as our archivist on diocesan staff. She has been our registrar for some time and is willing to serve in that capacity again. And I'd like to just spend a moment introducing to you a new face for our convention officers, and that is the Mr. Tom Roche. Tom has agreed to serve as the diocesan treasurer for us. He's a member of St. Thomas Episcopal Church. He has been since 1984. He retired in 2020 as the vice president of tax for the Bank of Montreal's US headquarters in Chicago. Before that, he spent a significant portion of his professional career with GE Capital. At St. Thomas, Tom also serves currently as the senior warden, and he volunteers at the Lancaster Food Hub, Water Street Rescue Mission, and is a mentor and chapter treasurer of SCORE, which is the nation's largest network of volunteer small business mentors. Tom is a graduate of Shippensburg University. He got his master's degree in taxation from the Washington School of Law, and he is a veteran of the US Navy. Tom lives in Lancaster with Cheryl, his wife, who is a retired school teacher, and they have two cats, Samantha and Norm. Oh, I love those names, Samantha and Norm. So we are just delighted to have Tom join us. He has been serving in an informal capacity for some months, and we've been just delighted with him and the work that he's bringing to us. So I would entertain a motion that the secretary would cast one ballot for the election of these persons.
Bishop, I see 3 raised hands.
Okay, sorry.
The first one I see is Richard Steinmetz.
Beautiful. Okay, then we are going to vote on that.
We are. I'm going to lower the hands and let me just get the timer ready. And I'm launching this poll. And you may vote now. We are at 35 seconds. At approximately 94% participation. About 15 seconds. And the poll will close in 10 seconds. And the poll is closing. And it is 100% yay.
Terrific. Thank you very much for voting. And thank you, Tom and Tyrone and Debbie, for your service. At this time every year, I appoint the Chancellor of the Diocese, and I will be continuing with happy to appoint Charles Banks, Esquire, as the Chancellor of the Diocese. He is out of town tonight, and so Vice Chancellor Tom Schmidt is at the wheel, helping us with all things related to being a chancellor tonight. I would also add that we have 2 additional vice chancellors in the diocese, Mary Powell from St. Paul's in Harrisburg and Michael McAuliffe Miller from St. John's in Carlisle, who also serve ably alongside Tom, who is from our cathedral, as members of the body of vice chancellors. So thank you to all of them. And now, Tyrone, I'm going to call on you for a motion of the claims of those entitled to voice and vote in our convention tonight who are outside of our usual canonical residence.
Whereas the Reverends Ingrid Anderson, Jeffrey Bassett, Patricia Dixon, Howard Kinsell, Barbara Saris, Matthew McDougall, Peter Mawara, and James Reinhardt are all in the geographical bounds of the diocese and are engaged in ministry approved by the bishop of this diocese, but hold canonical status elsewhere in the church. And whereas Ms. Donna Barthel and Mr. Bradley Matson are serving in the capacity of lay pastors to parishes in this diocese, but have not been elected as a delegate of their parish. Therefore, it is moved that the previously named priest and lay pastors be granted seat in the 101st Convention of the Diocese of Central Pennsylvania with the privilege of voice and vote.
Thank you. And I already see that Anthony Alexander has seconded that motion. And so Alexis, over to you for voting.
I'm going to lower the hands are down, and I'm going to launch the poll. And we are approaching 35 seconds remaining. Now down to 30. Those go rather quickly. At 92% participation. Approximately 10 seconds left and the poll will close. And the poll is now closing with a 98% yay, a 2% nay.
Very good. So the motion carries. And now over to you, Tyrone.
Bishop, I think
Oh,
it's.
pardon me. Over to the Vice Chancellor, Tom.
You've asked that I read a segment of the convention rules applicable to debate on motions brought to the floor of the convention. I apologize for the length of the reading, but let me go through it. This is from the rules of order that were emailed to convention delegates. It's Rule 2, Section 4 concerning a debate. In the consideration of and action on resolutions and motions coming before the convention, The following rules of debate shall be followed with regard to each of the issues. Each speaker shall be limited to 2 minutes. To the extent practicable, the chair shall recognize speakers of opposite view in alternate succession. Debate shall be limited to 20 minutes. Thereafter, 2 minutes will be allotted for summation. No motion to lay on the table or otherwise to terminate debate shall be entertained until the conclusion of such debate. In the discretion of the presiding officer, any time assigned hereby to the consideration of any motion or resolution which is not used in such consideration may be added to the time allotted for debate of any subsequent resolution. And this from rules for online convention. Assignment of the floor, procedural motions. To seek recognition by the chair, a member shall request recognition by clicking on the raise hand button on the screen display, whereupon the chair shall recognize requests in the order submitted, except for privileged or incidental motions as defined in Robert's Rules of Order and as set forth herein. To introduce a privileged or incidental motion, a member shall use the chat box on the display screen to post the text of the motion in full, along with the member's name and congregational affiliation, and shall thereafter wait a reasonable time for the chair's ruling, which shall not be subject to appeal, and for instructions before attempting to seek recognition. Next section, display of motions. The secretary shall show by an on-screen display the immediately pending question and other relevant pending questions, such as the main motion or the pertinent part of the main motion when amendment to it is immediately pending. And to the extent feasible, the secretary or any assistants appointed by the secretary for this purpose shall cause such questions or any other documents that are currently before the meeting for action or information to be displayed therein until disposed of. Section 10, voting. Votes shall be taken by the voting feature of the Internet meeting service unless a different method is ordered by the chair. The chair's announcement of the voting results during the meeting shall include the percentage of members voting on each side of the question and the percentage, if any, who explicitly respond to acknowledge their presence without casting a vote. Numerical totals will be available after the conclusion of the meeting. Business may also be conducted by unanimous consent, with the chair announcing the chair's understanding of such consent, which shall be subject to objection, whereupon another method of voting shall be used.
Thank you, Chancellor. Announcement of tellers. The tellers today are Debbie Roebelin, Diocesan Registrar, and the Very Reverend Robin Zook Coolidge, who will be providing oversight on behalf of the Secretary of Convention. Ms. Roebelin and Dean Zook Coolidge will review election results and consult with a digital analytics consultant. The results will be announced at the end of the meeting. And now we'll turn for the report of the nominating committee.
Hi, my name is Amy Swearnick, and I'm the chairperson for the nominating committee. The nominating committee unanimously submits the following names for nomination at the 151st Convention of the Diocese of Central Pennsylvania for the diocesan positions and boards indicated to hold office for the period set forth in the canons and until their respective successors are elected and qualified. For the standing committee, elect 2 clergy and 2 laypersons. The clergy candidates are the Reverend Kevin Barron from St. Luke's, Altoona, the Reverend Edward K. Erb from St. Paul's in Wellsboro, the Reverend Jennifer Matson from St. Thomas in Lancaster, and the Reverend Angel Scarborough from All Saints Hershey. The lay candidate is Mrs. Laura Godfrey Lechke from St. Luke's Altoona, and this is her second consecutive term. For the Council of Trustees, elect 1 clergy and 2 laypersons. The clergy candidates are the Reverend Regina Bautista from St. John's, Marietta, the Reverend Jan Brown, deacon at St. Andrew's, York, the Reverend James Jenkins, deacon, and this is his second consecutive term. The lay candidates are Miguel Gonzalez from Church of the Nativity in Newport, and Melanie Graves from St. Mary's in Waynesboro. For the disciplinary board, elect 2 clergy and 1 layperson. The clergy candidates are the Reverend Allison Carnahan. She's the associate priest at St. Paul's Bloomsburg and Christ Memorial in Danville, and Church of the Resurrection Mission in Mount Carmel. The second candidate is the Reverend Jeffrey Packard from St. Andrew's and State College. The lay candidates are Karen Stewart from Holy Trinity in Hollidaysburg, and Sarah Whedon from St. Paul's in Harrisburg. Good luck to everyone who put their names forward to serve, and thank you very much.
Bishop, the audio is very faint on that video. Canon Streeter has agreed to list the slides. If you would be so kind to read the names for us so that the attendees could hear it, but they have also been on the diocesan website.
Sure.
Thank
That's
you.
fine. So you're going to launch some slides, Chris? All right. We apologize for that audio. Amy is not coming to us live. She recorded that. So in the playback, something was lost, but I will be happy to read the names of all of the candidates for you so you can hear them. And you will be seeing their names as well for the contested offices. You'll have an opportunity to vote. So before we do this, let me say that we're going to do 2 things. We're going to invite you to cast 1 ballot for all of the uncontested elections. There are some elections for which we have just the right number of people for the positions open, in which case we're going to invite you to cast 1 ballot for all of those. And then you will be participating in a poll to vote on the elections that are actually contested. So let me read these for you. So in the standing committee, there is a contested election for clergy. There are 2 clergy people to be elected, and you will be choosing from the Reverend Kevin Barron, deacon at St. Luke's Altoona, the Reverend Ed Erb from St. Paul's in Wellsboro, the Reverend Jennifer Matson from St. Thomas in Lancaster, and the Reverend Angel Scarborough from All Saints in Hershey. So you will have to choose 2 of those in a poll that will come up in a few moments. For the lay positions on standing committee, there are 2 openings and 1 person running. So this is an uncontested election. Ms. Laura Gottfried Lechke, who is currently serving on the standing committee and now running for a 2nd term. When there is an opening like this, where we have a hole where nobody's put their name in to be considered, it is the role of the standing committee to appoint somebody later on in the course of the program year. For the Council of Trustees, we will be electing 1 clergy person and 2 lay people. And so there will be a contested election among the clergy, and you will get to vote in a poll, choosing between the Reverend Jan Brown from St. Andrew's, York, who is the deacon there, the Reverend Gina Bautista from St. John's, Marietta, or the Reverend James Jenkins, deacon at St. Paul's Bloomsburg, and Jim is running for a 2nd term. There are 2 lay people running for 2 positions, so an uncontested election. In the lay order, Mr. Miguel Gonzalez from Church of the Nativity and Newport and Thompsontown, and Ms. Melanie Graves, who comes from St. Mary's, Waynesboro. The Diocesan Disciplinary Board nominees, we will elect 2 clergy people and 1 lay person. And so the clergy order is not contested. The Reverend Allison Carnahan, who serves at St. Paul's Bloomsburg and Christ Memorial Danville, and also as Vicar of the Church of the Resurrection Mission in Mount Carmel, and Jeff Packard, who is the rector at St. Andrews State College, those 2 clergy persons in an uncontested election. And then the lay order, it is a contested election. You will choose between Ms. Karen Stewart from Holy Trinity in Hollidaysburg or Ms. Sarah Whedon from St. Paul's in Harrisburg. And let me just point out that there are 2 Sarah Whedons in our diocese. We call Sarah Whedon from St. Paul's in Harrisburg the original Sarah Whedon, since she got here first. And the Reverend Sarah Whedon is the rector at St. Andrews in Lewisburg. She is not on the ballot for that last item. So I hope that helps. I hope you could hear me. I'm going to ask, in accordance with our customary practice, that we cast 1 ballot for the uncontested offices. So is there a second for that? Looking on the participants list, I see Angel. Thank you very much. And now we will cast that vote.
And I'm launching the poll. And you may vote now. "35 seconds remain. We're at about 93%, 94%. About 10 seconds left. And the poll is closing. Bishop, we have 99% yay, 1% nay.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for offering yourselves, and we are delighted to have those of you who have been elected to serve. Now we'll have the first ballot for contested offices, and over to you, Tyrone.
Yes, voting instructions for contested offices. All voting will be conducted via the Zoom polling feature, similar to the motions already passed. However, in order to ensure all votes are properly counted, you must make a selection for each person named on the ballot, not just whom you want to be elected. In making a first or second choice for the available positions, the rankings are not significant, but allow the poll results to determine the top candidates. The candidates elected will serve as equals. The rankings are for tabulation purposes only and will not be shared. The results of these votes will be announced. If you wish to comment on any nominees, please use the raised hand button, wait to be recognized as a speaker, and then you will be unmuted to be able to speak. So the first vote will be for the contested positions for the standing committee vote. The poll will now open to vote for 2 clergy members on the standing committee. For the go ahead.
The poll is open.
For the standing committee poll, please select one person as your first choice, the next as your second choice, and indicate, "I do not choose this candidate," for the third and fourth. If you select more than one candidate as your first or second choice, or if you fail to designate one as "I do not choose this candidate," the Zoom poll will disregard your ballot.
20 seconds remaining.
If you have any comments, please use the raise hand button to be recognized and given access to speak. There will be no more discussion.
10 seconds left. The poll is now closing. I do see one raised hand, Bishop.
Yes, I see.
Two raised hands.
Bill Alford and Paul. Alford. So Bill, we're going to promote you to panelist and invite you to make your comment or ask your question. There you are. Bill, if you'd unmute, let us know what you're wondering about. Bill, you're on mute still. So if you could unmute and let us know what your comment is. There you go. No?
I hope you can hear me. I did not get the last part marked on the ballot.
Okay. Alexis, is there a way to get his vote to count?
I'd have to relaunch the entire poll and it would wipe out the results. So if
Can
it
you-
wasn't during those seconds.
I just didn't mark the last part where it said I did not choose this person. I chose the first two, but I didn't get the third part marked.
I can inform.
Do you want him to call his vote in to Carolyn? And you
Yes,
can-
that would be great. And then we can forward it to the digital analytics
All
consultant.
right, Bill,
Okay.
I'm going to give you a
Thank you,
phone
Bishop.
number. Yeah, I'm going to give you a phone number to call and that will get you to Carolyn Patterson. You
Okay.
can register your vote with her. I don't encourage all of you to take advantage of this for the rest of the night, but this is a good emergency measure. So
That's great.
Carolyn's phone number is 717
Uh-huh.
220-3267.
Thank you.
I see a chat comment saying they couldn't see the fourth person on the ballot. What you need to do is scroll up or down so you can see all of the names. I'm getting some comments here that was a very quick vote. Wondering, because it was our first vote with contested stuff, whether we should wipe that one clean and try again, give them a longer time. Is that possible?
I can do that. Yeah, give me 1 moment.
Okay, we're all getting our sea legs here, folks. So no worries. What I'm hearing from you is you need more time to make your deliberations and more time to cast your ballots. And that some of you need to take the time to scroll up and down on the ballot so you can see all of the names. So you need, just to remind you, you need to vote for every person, a first choice, a second choice, I do not choose, and I do not choose. So what we're going to do is disregard the first one and run a second one with the same candidates, and you get to vote again.
Bishop, I'll reread the voting instructions for the standing committee as it's being overlaid. Would that
Yep.
help?
Yep, I
Okay.
think so. And again, thank you everybody for your good humor and patience here. This is a learning curve and it's a steep one. So here we are.
Okay. Okay, so the poll will now open to vote for 2 clergy members on the standing committee. For the standing committee poll, please select one person as your first choice, the next as your second choice, and indicate I do not choose this candidate for the third and fourth. If you select more than one candidate as your first or second choice, or if you fail to designate one as I do not choose this candidate, the Zoom poll will disregard your ballot. Again, if you have comments, please use the raised hand button to be recognized and given access to speak. There being no more discussion, the election will begin.
And I just wanted to let you know that when we relaunched, it wiped out the first results. So we will not be using those. Those have been discarded.
Thank you.
Alexis, before we close it this time, let's
20 seconds.
let's make sure everybody's had a chance.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're at about 11 seconds. And only 88% have participated. So I'm watching the, all right, my timer just went off. And we're at 90%. So if you'd like to extend that, please let me know.
Yeah, let's extend it for just a few more moments.
I'll give it 10 seconds. We're at 91%.
Give it a few more seconds. This
Okay.
is
20 seconds added. We're at 92%. I just want to encourage people, if they need to scroll down and you're using a mouse and that has a trackball, you can use the trackball to scroll up and down as well. %, participation, and the 20 seconds has. Okay,
okay. I think
I'm going to end the poll. 94%.
Yeah, I don't see
I
any.
see 1 raised hand, 2
Okay.
raised hands, 3 raised hands.
Okay. Let me see who they are. Paul Doniger. Can we just pause the vote while we find out what's going on with these 3 people? Can we do that?
I will, if I click end poll, it will pull different data if we
Okay.
restart it. So I'll just let it sit there until.
Okay,
Yeah.
Paul put his hand down. Jan Brown, can we promote her to, oh, wait, Paul's on the screen here. Paul, can you unmute and tell us what you need?
I was not able to scroll up or down, so that wasn't able to complete the ballot. And it may be my laptop.
Okay. I guess we'll go with a nuclear option for you, Paul, and let you call Carolyn. I know Carolyn, this can't be a thing for everybody, but I don't want your vote not to go counted. So her phone number is 717-220-3267. Thank you. Let's promote Jan Brown to panelist and see if we can help her. Jan, can you unmute and tell us what you need?
I have asked to unmute.
In the meantime, Grant has a good suggestion. Sometimes it helps to make sure your screen is on full screen in order for you to see all of the voting poll for you. Okay, Jan, you can put something in the chat if you'd like. Let's move on to Herb. Oh,
I didn't get the poll on my screen.
Do you have any other windows open, or is it behind the videos?
Right now I've got the poll on my screen, but I can't enter a vote. I don't want to tie everybody up with this. Maybe I better call poor Carolyn and then.
all right. Why don't do you have the number?
220.
3267.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Herb Johnston, you're the next one. Can we promote Herb to panel?
Bishop, he declined to be promoted.
Okay. Okay, so we can close the poll.
Okay, I'm going to download those results. Okay. Okay.
The question about abstaining from a vote, you need to choose do not choose. So if you want to choose to abstain, I think you hit do not choose, Aaron. Rick Breach has helped us out by saying when voting, there's a gray line on the right side of the window, which allows you to scroll up and down. Okay, so let's see how we're doing with the next contested election. Which
Okay. Okay, Bishop, the Council of Trustees vote. And Cannon, let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, the poll will now open to vote for one clergy member on the Council of Trustees clergy. For the Council of Trustees poll, please select one person as your first choice and indicate I do not choose this candidate for the second and third. If you select more than one candidate as your first choice, or if you fail to designate two as I do not choose this candidate, the Zoom poll will disregard your ballot. If you have any questions, please use the raised hand button to be recognized and given access to speak. There being no more discussion, the election will begin.
Alexis, I would add a full minute to the voting this time.
You got it.
Thank you.
Looks like this one is a little easier. It's 84% participation.
We have a raised hand, Bishop.
Thank you, Michael.
You said to disregard.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
We're at about 25 seconds remaining out of the minute. And 94% participation. Approximately 10 seconds remaining on the clock. Poll is getting ready to close. And the poll is now closing.
Thank you. I think we have one more. Now we're getting good at this.
Okay, thank you, Bishop. Cannon, are you ready?
I am ready, Secretary.
Okay, the poll will now open to vote for one lay member on the disciplinary board. For the disciplinary board poll, the person you select as your first choice will count for your vote. You must designate one candidate as your first choice and one as I do not choose this candidate. If you are choosing one out of two lay candidates to serve on the disciplinary board, if you designate more than one person as your first choice or fail to mark one response under each candidate's name, the Zoom poll will disregard your ballot. If you wish to comment on any nominees, please use the raise hand button, wait to be recognized as a speaker, and then you will be unmuted to be able to speak. There being no more discussion, the election for the clergy member of the disciplinary board will begin.
Sorry, Secretary, the lay member.
I'm sorry. Oh, the lay member on the disciplinary board will begin.
Thank you. 60 seconds on the clock. And we're at 93% participation. Thirty seconds remaining. Ten seconds remaining on the clock. 95% participation. The poll is getting ready to close. And the poll is now closing.
Thank you for voting. The results will be announced at the end of the meeting.
Okay. There was one person on that last poll who didn't see anything on their screen. So Sarah, if you want to call Carolyn, I'll give you the number one more time, 717-220-3267. By the way, this is not Carolyn's home cell phone number. This is a special number just for tonight. Very good. Thank you for your patience on that. I know this is we're all learning how to do this together, and we appreciate your work on this. We're going to take a break now. And I just want to reiterate that what you need to do, because the polls won't tabulate until we sign off the meeting. So what we need to do is have all of you leave the meeting. So hit the leave button down in the lower right, and you can sign back on in 2 minutes, in which case we'll have some videos playing while you take a little break, some music videos, but you do need to sign out and then sign back on in order for the polls to tabulate. So thank you for that. And it's 6:46. We'll see you back here at 6:56. Thank you.